Moving on. Dave Olson says, you Republicans and your war on women have created a rape culture, which would be terrible if it were true, but it's not true. Total rapes have gone down significantly in the last 20 or 30 years. It's just not true. And I really could just leave it right there, and really should just leave it right there. It's not true because it's not true. The reason it's not true is because it's not true. Rapes are down significantly. The war on women, the Republican war on women, really comes down to the fact that conservatives believe that baby girls as well as baby boys have a right to enter this earth. If you look at what most abortions, selective abortions, are done for around the planet, the thing that's the one quality that's aborted around the planet by a large margin is femininity. Little girls are killed all around the world, preferentially to little boys. And if you were allowed to do it in America, they've done surveys about this. If you could do it in America, you would be able to abort female fetuses. If you were able to do a sex-based abortion in America, they'd kill the girls. So, first of all, the war on women is nonsense because, number one, most abortions that happen, when you talk about Republicans and their war on women, wanting women to have, to live up to this responsibility that they've accepted by having a child, the people that are selectively aborted are girls. It's the Republicans that are trying to stop abortion in general. That's number one. Number two, it's conservatives who believe that it's up to men to protect women from bad men and rapists. And so you might want to ask yourself, as they did in The Sopranos pretty well, I thought, if you're, I've forgotten her name now, the psychologist, the woman, and you're walking down a dark alley and you have Tony Soprano on one hand, the big masculine, conservative, armed, tough guy, and you have Peter Bogdanovich, the sensitive, caring, feeling fellow psychologist on the other side, who do you think is going to protect you if your life is threatened and it requires an act of courage that may cost the man his life? Liberals don't stop women from being raped. Conservatives, armed conservatives, do. That's what the truth is. And all of these feminists who talk about, they'll say, you'll occasionally hear feminists say certain things like, I'd rather die or be raped than carry a gun, which sounds real good in a parking lot, in a cocktail party in Berkeley or in front of a classroom in Santa Monica. But I'd be willing to bet you that if these feminists were in the process of being raped, they would probably take a different opinion. If somebody's being raped, if a woman is in the process of being beaten, because you have to beat people to rape them, beaten and raped, and you said to them, at this point, would you, as you say, prefer to continue on with this process, or would you like an armed conservative to come in and stop it with his gun? I think you'd see a large shift in their attitude about these things. And like so much of socialism and so much of liberalism, it sounds great at parties because it makes you feel and sound morally superior to other people. But when push comes to shove, I'll bet you every single one of these feminists on planet Earth, when in the process of actually being raped, if they were asked, hey, time out, would you like a conservative with a gun to stop this now, or do you want to continue on with what you said about you'd rather die before you carry a gun or any of that other stuff? Which one would you rather take? We all know what the answer is. These Code Pink people, I've said before, who are protesting enlistment at the U.S. Marine Corps, that's swell. If you take a vacation down into Cabo San Lucas, let's say Miss Code Pink and the rest of your Code Pink fanatics trying to stop innocent children from enlisting in the death machine. Let's say you're down in Cabo San Lucas on the beach having a wonderful time and just sipping your Chardonnays in a hot tub, and the Zetas come along and capture you for ransom and take you someplace and fire up a chainsaw and cut the heads off of one or two of your friends in order to make the point, and you're on camera on your knees and you're next. Then how do you feel about the U.S. Marine Corps? Because I like the Marine Corps whether I am having my head about to be sawed off, but I also like them when I'm sitting at a cocktail party. See, there's no conflict between my vision about what I think is important. And finally, the thing I'll say about this war on women is, as I say again, it all comes down basically to the abortion issue. And look, I'm all about not telling other people what to do, and I'm a big part of that. But when you hear women say, it's my body, it's my choice because it's my body, at this point I have to just kind of jump in where my part of my brain that's kind of connected to wanting to speak the truth kind of leaps in and says, but it's not your body. If it were your body, it would be indistinguishable from the rest of your body. But that embryo could have been conceived 10 minutes ago, and that embryo has a genetic code that is not only different than yours, it is irreproducible by you on your own. And if you and the father got together and kept trying, the chance of reproducing that particular cluster of 2 cells that you're talking about now, or 1 cell, 2 cells, 4 cells, if you and the man got back together again, your chance of reproducing that exact genetic code is, I think it's 1 in 4 trillion, 1 in 4,000 billion to produce just that one set of 4 cells. You could say to any woman who tries to say to you, this is my body, stop this war on women. Look, I'm ready to have the discussion. I really am, about privacy. I'm more than happy to have the discussion. We're going to have that discussion based on fact, though. This is my body. It's not your body. I could take a sample from your hair, a sample of your blood, a sample of your fingernail, and I can genetically type you, ma'am, and I know exactly who you are. But if I do the same thing to the cells, to that cluster of cells that you talk about, it's an entirely different person, and it's a unique person, and you can't make that person again no matter how hard you try. So it's not your body. It's a body within your body. That's the war on women. Isn't it interesting and sad that according to feminists, progressives, and Democrats, you are not a real woman unless you are 100% in favor of being able to murder your children right up until the moment of birth? That's pretty much where we are right now. The progressive definition of a real woman is somebody who is willing to murder their unborn children right up until the moment of birth. That's the litmus test. Pretty sad litmus test when you get right down to it, isn't it? Pretty inhuman from a fundamental meaning of the word inhuman. It is, in fact, an inhuman quality to select. And if a baby can be aborted any time prior to birth, because that's what they're saying, because the one thing we can agree on is there are really 2 milestones here. There's conception and there's birth. There's nothing that happens between those 2 points that's unique. Everything else is a spectrum. Conception is unique. Birth is unique. There's some people say you should be able to abort a baby 10 minutes after birth, 15 minutes after. Some people in Australia were saying 2-3 years, as long as it's not a drain on real people. But from conception to birth, nothing happens from one day that's any different than the next day. Conception is unique. Birth is unique. And if you can abort a baby 10 minutes before birth, why can't you abort one 10 minutes after birth? Is it less of a person then? You know, again, this is a tough issue. I just want to have the discussion based on fact. On fact. I want people talking about actual, physical, truthful facts and not hiding behind these fig leaves. So the war on women is created. It's just created. There's no one in the Republican Party saying women should get paid less for the same amount of work. What we are saying is when you claim that women get paid less than men, statistically, you're incorrect. While women as a body do in fact take home less pay than men, it's not because a man working as a receptionist makes $9 an hour while let's hire the woman. We only have to pay her $8 or $7.50. That only happens in the White House with Michelle Obama or Barack Obama. There's nowhere anywhere in America today, and has been for decades, where a woman is given less money because she's a woman. The reason women make less money than men per capita over the entire population is because they work fewer hours than men, and they work less dangerous jobs than men, and other indications for why men would get overtime or extra pay for the same amount of job, same kind of work. It's just that simple. So like everything else, it just doesn't exist. There is no rape culture. there isn't a rape culture. It's men, conservative men, actual men, who are taught not only not to rape women, they're taught to prevent rapes of women with their firearms. You have to lie about everything in order to be a socialist, Democrat, progressive today, and if you don't have anything to sell. Got time for one or two more.